equity venture. Is any of this change as you start to look out over the next several years and think, I imagine, that we're going to be seeing meaningful inflation across the board?
It has. We actually increased our allocation to both real assets, infrastructure, as well as private equity, moving private equity up from 8% of the portfolio to 13% of the portfolio. Obviously, we'll have a bit of time to implement that strategy through our pacing model. But really, on the real asset side, increasing that also into double digits as a way of having some inflation protection in the portfolio itself.
Is there any thesis that you have about an impending recession? I mention this because Deutsche Bank out with a note today saying they're expecting a recession by the end of the year. Stocks perhaps down as much as 20%. Goldman Sachs has also been talking about the possibility of a recession. There's some that are moving money, I know, into private equity now because they think there's going to be an opportunity on the other side if, in fact, this bad news proves true and therefore becomes good news if you're maybe trying to pick up some stuff on the cheap later.
No, I mean, we stay committed to our long-term strategy. And again, the asset allocation on the private equity side, we've always had a pretty significant target to private assets, including a new allocation to private debt. Again, it's about diversifying the portfolio to withstand, the various market conditions that we find ourselves in over decades. But we do think the position of the portfolio today is postured in a way that can withstand, some volatility over the next, 4 years.
Within that sort of private equity pocket, where does venture capital stand and where does real estate stand?
So we have started to find some deals in venture. We have a new chief investment officer who just started with us on March 28th, Nicole Musico. And she's really looking at additional venture. Our private equity team has found some deals. Those deals tend to be a little bit small for the scale of CalPERS, but we've started to invest there prior to this inflationary environment. Real estate is in our real assets portfolio. When we really look at real estate as a part of the core portfolio, as both a bit of an inflation protection, but also an income source for the benefit stream that we have to pay to our 2 million members.
You've been a
Good morning, traders. What's up and what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Hump Day! It is Hump Day, April 6, 2022, 9 a.m. in the market. And my goodness, am I excited like always to be here. So what's up and what's going on, traders? Welcome back. Happy Hump Day. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, beautiful, fantastic Wednesday morning, and I hope you guys had a wonderful Tuesday evening as well. What's up, Trader Adam, Dougie Fresh? How we doing this morning, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. We got a lot to talk about today, guys. There's a lot happening in the market, so we're not going to sit here and waste any time and BS. We're going to dive right into it, guys, and we are going to get you prepared for the day. What are the top stocks? Where's the best opportunity to make some big time profits? And let's keep the momentum going, baby. Monday, an awesome day in the market. Tuesday, another awesome day in the market. And you guys know I love Wednesdays. I love me a good old hump day. So let's make today an even better day in the market. Right now, no trades for me, right? I was going to trade IVDA. I was waiting for the break of that downtrend. We never got it. I never jumped in. I think that was really the only stock that I was really watching for a nice technical setup here in pre-market, right? Nothing really happening with SPFM. Not too much really happening with MOBQ, right? I mean, this stock just ripped from 160 to 302, consolidating, giving us a little bit of a bull flag. But you guys know me, I'm not crazy about trading bull flags in this type of market when we don't see bull flags rip and run as consistently as they used to a couple years back. So again, guys, 0 trades for me on the day. I'm sitting back, being patient, looking for only the best opportunity. Realistic capital, realistic size, so you guys can follow along and we can lock in some great profits like we've done for the last 2 days of April. So let's dive into it, guys. Let's not waste any time. But before we do that, good morning, everybody over on YouTube. Mr. Eric, what's up? Brian, Ryan, Curtis. I know Joey's going to be in here in a little bit. Mutaz, if you haven't said good morning yet, I know you're probably in here, Mr. Mutaz. What's up? What's going on? And good morning. All right, so let's talk about the overall market, right? What's going on today that's very, very important to you? We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. What's happening today at 2 o'clock p.m.? Does anybody know what's happening today at 2 p.m. Eastern time? What's being released that's going to move the market, right? It's definitely something that is probably going to move the market, I would think. Yes, the Fed. The Fed minutes are being released at 2 p.m. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. It's going to give us more insight on how we're going to deal with inflation. It's going to give us more insight on what the Fed is planning on doing with these next 6 to 7 interest rate hikes, right? 25 basis points, 50, 75. Again, it's going to give us more insight there as well, and more insight on what the Fed is planning on doing to shrink that $9 trillion balance sheet. So again, everything right now has been priced in. Everything that's happening with Russia, Ukraine, oil, this and that, everything's been priced in. But what hasn't been priced in is anything new that we hear and that we see from these Fed minute reports, right? These details. So just to give you a heads up, I would assume, right, that the market would be sideways, choppy, unpredictable leading up to 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, we'll probably see a reaction in the market, right? If everything is pretty much what we know, we're not going to see too much. If there's any surprises, anything obviously the market doesn't like, we'll see a reaction. But if there's anything positive, right, anything positive that we take away from it, we'll see a good reaction. So right now, let's not predict green day, red day, right? Close higher, close lower. Let's not predict anything right now because, again, we can't. We don't know what the market's going to do at 2 o'clock. So again, with the SPY, the Qs, the broader market, I would assume, right? I would assume it would be kind of slow, sideways, choppy, unpredictable, not a lot of opportunity until those minutes are released, until we see that market reaction, and then we can lock in some great profits. But from a technical perspective, I would say that it would be a red day from a technical perspective. So let's see what happens when those Fed minutes are released, and we'll have some great opportunity into the day today from 2 to 4 o'clock. And we'll be here from 2 to 4 o'clock to see exactly what's going on and identify that opportunity and lock in some profits. So to really start the day, guys, right, to start the day, we're going to be looking at these penny stocks. Probably 90% of our focus is going to be with penny stocks. And then 10% of my focus, I'm looking at oil. I was talking to you guys about oil Monday, how oil from a technical perspective looks like it could start breaking on out to the upside. If that's the case, I want to be looking at USO, going long on USO. So again, I'll be watching oil and I'll keep you guys up to date as far as what I see. And if I start making any kind of entries for a day trade or a swing trade when it comes to the oil technicals, as far as looking for that nice little break and that nice little rip and run back to the upside. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on today. If we start to see those technicals setting up, they're honored, and we start looking for some entries, maybe on USO, which is the oil ETF, right? So as far as penny stocks, let's start with the top stock of the day. And the top stock of the day right now at this point in time is MOBQ. MOBQ up 70%, trading 15 million shares. 100,000 shares is the average trading volume. Lowest float stock on the leaderboard, 2.9 million in flow. So we got a nice gapping up stock, 67%, phenomenal volume, nice low flow stock. We know that this stock could rip and run, and it's already ripped. It's already ran from around, what, 162 all the way to 302 here in pre-market. And right now it is consolidating sideways. It's trying to flag, and you're starting to see that 9 EMA try to cross that VWAP to the upside. So let's keep this on watch above the 9 EMA, above the VWAP. It's still consolidating in this flag-like formation. As long as we don't dump and crack below, I would say that VWAP, the 9 EMA, and that doji lower shadow right around 265, I would say you're still intact to see a break out of this consolidation, at least back up to the high a day of 302. And then your next target's going to be 339 to 340. All right, guys, anything over that 339 to 340 level, you have a lot of room to 4, a lot of room to 5, and then all the way up to that 200-day moving average at 539. So there's a lot of opportunity to the upside here on MOBQ today. So why is the stock even moving in the first place? They reported a partnership with A Nation to provide data and programmatic advertising. No terms disclosed, but we do have partnership news, and that's why the stock is currently up 70% here in pre-market. All right, so we have the good catalyst, we have good volume, nice low float stock, nice little gap up, and the technicals aren't terrible as well. So again, not dropping below 265, staying above that 9 EMA, staying above that VWAP, breaking out of consolidation to the upside. We could start to see this flag formation play out up to 339. We could see that 4, 5, and then our top target today would be that 200-day moving average at 539. But however, if we do not hold that 9 EMA, if we do not hold that VWAP, where could we see the stock come back down to? Honestly, guys, we could see it all the way back down to $2, right? That's where support's at, right around $2. Now, you may hold like 230 to 236. It could hold that level, but the best of the best of the best level of support on the stock is all the way back down at $2. So again, don't buy it right now. I wouldn't buy it right now, right? We want to make sure that it's going to break to the upside. So I would say if we start breaking that downtrend here out of this this flag-like formation, that's where you want to start making entries, right? So that'd be right around like 288 to 290 would be confirmation that this is going to start breaking out of that flag back up to at least 302 and then 339 targets on MOBQ. And that's going to be your first target, is that 339. And again, anything over 339, your second target's going to be $4. If we do get the confirmation and we start breaking out of this flag over that 288 level, and if you guys are making entries, stops need to be at 262 on the stock, right? So watch MOBQ, high watch right now at this point in time for the rest of pre-markets, and the top stock we'll be watching right out of the gates today at 9:30, guys, right? We also have CTXR, all right? So CTXR reporting top line data from their pivotal phase 3 trial in regards to cancer, right? So we got a couple good keywords: pivotal phase 3 trials, top line data in regards to their cancer study. That's great news. CTXR is not doing a lot right now at this point in time, but who's to say that this stock doesn't turn in to the top stock of the day? We definitely want to keep this one on watch, ladies and gentlemen. Above, I would say 192, right? We have some prior resistance right around 192, and your 200-day moving average is right around yesterday's open of 187. So I would say like a 185 to a 192 is going to be the best level of support here on CTXR. So if we do hold support, we do start bouncing back above 2, assuming $2 cracks and we come down to that 187, right? 192 mark. We re-break $2. Where could we see this go? 220, right? Resistance and pre-market right around $2.20. And that 220 level is also a level of resistance on the daily chart as well. Anything over 220, your next target would be that high a day of 232. Anything over the high day of 232, you could see it up towards around 247 to 250. And then your top target today on CTXR would be that small little gap to be filled up towards around 260. So we will be watching CTXR simply because the press release is actually really, really nice on CTXR. Now again, given a lot back, right? It has good volume, but it's given a lot of those gains back. The only thing that I don't like about the stock is it's 134 million in float. So we know float. Lower the float, the bigger the spikes, right? The larger the float, the slower and steadier the stock moves. So if you like those slow, steady, less volatile stocks, CTXR could be the stock that you're really watching today. But if you don't like those slow, steady movers, you want that stock that pops 50 cents in a minute, probably not the best stock to be watching if you don't like those larger float stocks. But it's still a stock that we should keep on watch, as there's some good potential to the upside today. We have a really good press release, guys. All right, so CTXR, another stock that I say we watch today at this point in time. IVDA, all right, so IVDA started to dip below that 360 here a little bit, right? We were talking about this one in pre-market this morning in chat. We're looking for a simple break of the downtrend with volume. We're starting to break the downtrend with volume, but we had that nice little 360 level of support, right? We dipped below it. It wasn't really looking like we were going to do too much, but we are starting to bounce here at 350, and we're following through with the break of the downtrend. So we want to keep the stock on watch above this pre-market low of 350, and we want to see this trend reverse, right? From downtrend, breaking the downtrend, and starting a nice little uptrend on IVDA. So what's going on with IVDA? So IVDA products were spec'd into a $20 billion development plan here on IVDA. And something else about IVDA is you could see a little bit of a squeeze today with IVDA. I want to make sure I don't have my stocks mixed up. I think I do, so I retract what I just said. I thought this was the stock that had 25% of its float short, but I'm getting this stock mixed up with something else. So estimated short interest change on IVDA is 425%. So the current short interest is very, very low at 63,000 shares. The float on IVDA is 6 million. So you don't really have substantial shorting in the stock. I mean, from a daily perspective, you would think the stock is heavily shorted. The short interest changed, currently 425%. Again, I'm still getting used to Ortex, trying to really dissect this data and really make sure that it lines up with our thesis and what we're thinking about when it comes to a trade. So I'm still trying to dissect this, and right now I'm not really seeing anything that stands out. I'm getting IVDA mixed up with another stock that has, I think, 25% short interest. But regardless of that, guys, this is a stock that has potential to the upside, right? There is a gap that could be filled on IVDA, right? We have good news, right? IVDA is a low float stock, 6 million in float. It's gapping up 22%, and it's trading good volume, 2.6 million shares, and on average it trades 119. So we have the volume, right? It's a decent gap up, nice low float stock with a good press release as well. So what we really want to start seeing on IVDA is this stock breaking back above 380, right? When we gapped down on, what was that, the 31st of March, and we opened on the 1st of April. We see this big gap down. Where was the low of day on the 31st of March? 526, 525. Where did we hit a high a day? Where was our high when we gapped down? Right around 380. So I would say if IVDA can get a solid break and hold above $3.80, you do have potential to 525. Now you have some resistance levels along the way up that you have to be mindful of, right? That's spiking high at pretty much $4. Over $4, we have room towards around 438, up towards around 450. Anything over 450, we could see it up towards around that post-market high of 487, and then $5. And then if we see the stock break $5 today, your top target is filling the gap up towards around 525. Right now, support is going to be back down towards around 350. I start to get interested in the stock if we break and hold the gap down high at $3.80. So a break and a hold over 380, that to me looks good. I start to get interested, and maybe we have some opportunity to take this long for that possible daily gap fill on IVDA. So at this point in time, another stock I would like to keep on high watch. All right, we have DC. I see a lot of you guys talking about DC this morning. All right, so DC's up 16%, but look at your volume, guys, right? It's a new IPO number one. New IPO number one, we traded 800,000 shares yesterday. So far in pre-market, we're trading 300,000 shares. What do we know about IPOs, right? They're the babies of the stock market. There's not a lot of data to go off of, right? There's just not a lot of past chart history. There's no past chart history to look back on. So the only thing that we could really do at this point in time is look at yesterday, right? Just look at what happened yesterday and try and get an idea of where support and resistance could be. So if we look at yesterday's close of 960, 960, 690. You guys know what I'm talking about when I'm dyslexic, right? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Not 690, right? So $6.90 was yesterday's close. That could be our level of support where we see buyers move in to DC. So if you guys are looking at DC because you like these newer IPO plays, these stocks that could rip $10, $20, right? And you like that volatility, it also comes with high risk, but there's also high reward. So if you guys are looking at DC, you just want to keep this one on watch above yesterday's close of 690. Now, if we hold 690, you can see it pop all the way back up towards around yesterday's highs of 847, and then you can see it up towards around $10 next here on DC. So again, light volume at this point in time. It is technically gapping up 20%, but again, we don't have any substantial volume trading in pre-market to really lead me to believe this is where a majority of the focus is, a majority of traders are, but we could see the stock set up and start to move today. So keep it on watch above 690. Your first target, if you do get a buy signal at 690, would be 847. And then anything over 847 up towards around $10 here on DC. I would say it's a little bit of a back burner stock at this point in time. I definitely don't think it's a top stock to watch out of the gates, right? MOBQ, definitely better, maybe even IVDA. And we still haven't even gotten into some of these other stocks that have great potential for today as well. So I would say DC would be a back burner stock at this point in time, guys. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take DC and let's run it up and put it on a back burner watch list at this point in time. Something we're watching, but not a top stock right out of the gate. Okay, we also have BTAI. All right, so BTAI is getting some movement. I think Beth this morning was talking about BTAI, and they had a press release on BTAI. So BTAI, they announced FDA approval. Right, so that's the press release that we have. It's announcing FDA approval here on BTAI. Now you have light support right around 22.22, and that was prior daily resistance. We're coming back down into this level here in pre-market. That could be our level of support right around 22 to 22.22 here on BTAI. So again, we have a good press release, right? Getting FDA approval. This is a lower float stock. All right, it's 19 million in float. It's currently up 12%, and it is trading good volume, right? So on average, it's trading around 347,000 shares on average is the average volume. And so far this morning, we're trading 1.5 million shares. So, I mean, we do have the volume. It's a nice low float stock. It's gapping up 12%. It has good news, but from a technical perspective, looking at the chart, it just doesn't look all that appealing. But it is meeting the criteria to be a watch list worthy stock. Okay, so let's add it to the watch list and let's add it to the back burner at this point in time, right? If it sets up, if it starts ripping, let's get prepared. Let's make some profits, okay? You do have the 200-day moving average on BTAI up at 24.41. So that's going to be a key level of resistance to keep on watch, right around 24.41. Let's go ahead and readjust that a little bit. 24.41 on BTAI. Over that 200-day moving average, $26 is the pre-market high. That's going to be a level of resistance. Anything over $26, we could see $26.78. Anything over $26.78, we have room to $29.68 and then $30. And then anything over $30, we could see $32.35 here on BTAI. But right now, again, the technicals not looking all that great. But again, it is a watch list worthy stock at this point in time. So I would say we'll take BTAI and put it on our back burner watch list. A stock that has potential, but not a top stock to be watching right out of the gate. Because again, we still have some other stocks to talk about, guys, right? Tilray reporting earnings, a surprise earning, right? So we have Tilray currently up from around 703 to 780. We definitely want to be watching TLRY today. Over $8, we have room to $8.59. Anything over that $8.59, we could see it back up towards around that spiking high of $9.05. Anything over that $9.05 spiking high, we could see $9.53, and then upwards of $10 on TLRY. Current support on Tilray is $7.45. So again, pot stocks have been on watch for the past couple of weeks. We have some earnings on Tilray. This stock is currently gapping up again about 11%. We have 6 million shares traded. On average, the stock trades 33 million. So again, we don't really have substantial volume. But again, these stocks are still on watch. There's still some focus, still some hype around a lot of these pot stocks. So Tilray, we already have some focus. We already have some hype. The stock has some attention over the past few weeks. Now we have some earnings, right? The stock is gapping up decently here in pre-market, again, from around 703 up towards this 778. So again, 745 support. We want to see that level hold on up. Breaking over $8, that's where the next wave of volume can definitely start moving on in. Pushing the stock to 859, up towards around that spiking high of 90, it's actually 90 what? 908. And then anything over that spiking high of 908, 953, and then 998 on TLRY. So I'd say TLRY definitely meeting that criteria to be a watch list worthy stock. And I think it's a stock that we should watch right out of the gate, right? So let's go ahead and dissect the top stocks we're watching right out of the gate, right? TLRY is definitely one of our top 3 to 5 stocks, all right? MOBQ at this point in time for now is still going to be one of our top 3 to 5 stocks. CTXR, one of our top stocks to watch. IVDA, one of our top stocks to watch. And then SBFM, I think should be a top stock to watch as well. So this stock had great news yesterday, but didn't do really anything, right? End of the day, had a decent little 9 EMA VWAP squeeze, nice pullback into the 570s, nice pop on back up towards around the prior high. There was some decent opportunity with SBFM, right? I took that SBFM trade in pre-market and made 19%. Out of the gate, there wasn't really a lot of opportunity until around 2:30, 3 o'clock when it set up 2 more times for some decent profits. But right now, it is currently gapping up a little bit, right? We're up 9 cents, but we're not dumping on off. We're not gapping down. We didn't fall back below that 200-day moving average. So there's still some focus with SBFM off of yesterday's fantastic press release, all right? So we still want to keep the stock on high watch, above 509 support. Why 509? It's your 200-day moving average. And we saw yesterday this stock held 509 all day. We're in one big channel, guys. One big channel on SBFM, right? Bottom channel support, 509. Top channel resistance, right around that 650 level. Some of you would probably say, like, what about a downtrend, right? Maybe a little bit of a downtrend as well here on SBFM. So you have a little bit of a downtrend that could be broken, but you still have the bigger picture channel that we're currently in. Bottom channel support, 509, and then top channel resistance between 650 and 680 here on SBFM. So a break of the downtrend is a good sign. Breaking that 650 to 680 is a great sign, and we have potential to $8 next on SBFM, right? So we know why the stock's moving. It was a great press release yesterday. It was one of our top gainers there in pre-market. We locked in some great profits, and it's showing potential to maybe move again today. So we will be watching SBFM as our 5th and final top stock to be watching right at 9:30. The next 4 stocks that I list, these are back burner stocks, guys, right? So ANY, we're not really gonna spend too much time to talk about ANY. It's a back burner stock. If it starts moving and it starts ripping and running and it starts setting up, we'll shift our attention to ANY or do our due diligence. We'll get prepared and see if there's any opportunity for any kind of profits. But again, I want to add it to the back burner watch list because there is some potential today, as there's a lot of focus still with ANY. There's a lot of social media chatter with ANY. There's a lot of chatter about it being the next big short squeeze, right? It's a crypto related stock. Crypto has a lot of focus and has a lot of attention right now as well. So again, let's watch ANY, back burner stock. If it starts moving, we'll shift our attention towards it. We'll get prepared. We'll lock in some profits. Right now, there's not too much to talk about at this point in time. And then the last 2 stocks, I like these a lot, guys, right? We all love, what? Mid-candle breakouts, baby. We all love mid-candle breakouts. So you got BRCC setting up for this possible mid-candle breakout. Bottom support is going to be off yesterday's low, right around 22.75. Honestly, I don't want to see it come back down to 22.75. I'd like to see this hold above 24 bucks, break above yesterday's open, right around 25. So above yesterday's close of 24.10. That looks good. Breaking yesterday's open right around 25 bucks. That looks great. And that's where we could start to see volume really start to move on in to BRCC. Your first target on BRCC is $26.87, yesterday's high. Your second target, if we get confirmation to go long on BRCC, would be Monday's close, right around $28.30. And then your third target would be Monday's high of Monday's spiking high of $29.20. Now, anything over that high, $30 next. Okay, $30 natural resistance. Anything over 30, you could see 35 bucks. So I'm really liking BRCC for the possible mid-candle breakout, guys. High watch. This is like the top back burner stock that we have at this point in time. BRCC for the possible mid-candle breakout. And then NUTX is setting up for a possible mid-candle breakout as well. One sec, guys, one sec. Can I have a kiss? Her lunch bag? Yeah. It's in the front seat. I didn't bring it in? No. All right, kiss. Mwah. You want my key? Give it to mommy. I love you. Have fun at daycare.
What are you doing? Get Daddy his fruit snacks.
I don't want them. You can have them. Okay. All right, love you.
Do you say love you, Daddy?
I love you too. Love you. See ya. NUTX, mid-candle breakout, right? Monday, new IPO from 10 to 52, gapping down, closing with a nice little red candle yesterday. So I'm not too crazy about this mid-candle breakout, but it shows the potential, right? The technicals are set. It's giving us that mid-candle breakout look. So we should be watching NUTX as well. So I would say NUTX could probably start to get some volume back above 26.26, which was yesterday's close. Actually, 26.64 was yesterday's close. So I would say 26.64, breaking back above that level. Watch for volume. Maybe we see some volume move in. And if so, we could see this back up towards around yesterday's high and open, right around $34.59. Anything over $34.59, we could see it back up towards around $39.79, which was Monday's close. And then honestly, it could see a high of $52.80 to retest Monday's spiking high. So again, it's a back burner stock. I'm not too crazy about this mid-candle breakout just because it's a brand new IPO, but it is a new IPO. And we've seen these new IPOs really rip and run, right? IPO day, green day, doesn't really do much, and then it just starts ripping and running. So let's watch NUTX, as it is a newer IPO stock, and we know traders like new IPO stocks, and then it is giving us a little bit of this mid-candle breakout formation as well here on NUTX. All right, so mid-candle breakouts, top two stocks to watch, and they are back burner stocks at this point in time, but our top two back burner stocks, they are both setting up for possible mid-candle breakouts. We have NUTX, we have BRCC, right? Back burner stocks at this time that could move, but I think we should put them on the back burner because there's better opportunity to start the day. You got DC, you have BTAI, and you have ANY. Top stocks to watch out of the gate right at 9:30, guys. SBFM, IVDA, and honestly, I think IVDA is going to be the top stock I'm watching at 9:30. You got CTXR, you got MOBQ. That's going to be my second stock that I'm watching right out of the gate. And then my third stock is going to be TLRY. TLRY, right, guys? So we got about 30 seconds to go. Let's get fired up, team. Let's have an awesome day. Let's make it happen, and let's lock in some good profits. I see ADN popping up on the scanners, guys. ADN right at 9 o'clock. Got a press release. They announced a sales and development agreement with Hyundai Motor Corporation. All right, so now we got ADN. ADN, low flow stock, good volume, press release at 9 o'clock. ADN is now another stock that we're watching right out of the gate, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and do some quick DD here on ADN. Resistance at 305, resistance at 345, and then resistance up at 381. And right now support is going to be right at that 20 EMA. All right, so if we can hold that daily 20 EMA here on ADN, we could see it, we could start to move back up. So I want to see it above like 256, breaking the open at 258, and we could see some action up towards around 281, 308, 345. So ADN is going to be a stock that we're watching right out of the gate, guys. All right, so we are all set, ready to rock and roll. Let's go ahead and get those scanners live. We are all set, team. Let's have some fun, and let's lock in some profits, baby. Again, watching oil, but I would say IVDA is my top stock that I want to watch right now at this point in time, guys. Decent little gap that could be filled up towards around that 526 here on IVDA. So right now at this point in time, above 350, it shows potential on IVDA above $3.50. So we want to keep this one on watch above 350. If it holds and it starts breaking 380, this thing could really start taking off on IVDA. So right now, this is definitely a stock that we want to be keeping on high watch. IVDA right out of the gate. And then MOBQ, guys. MOBQ, if we could just get a break of this downtrend, we could start to see some action and some volume move on in to MOBQ. And then we didn't talk about BBAI. I got my tickers mixed up, but BBAI was another stock that I wanted to keep on watch today, and that was the one Beth was talking about. So BBAI, multiple SEC filings in the past 5 days. We had a Form S8, a Form S-1A, and a 10K. So a lot of filings there on BBAI. And again, sometimes we see these stocks with all these filings get some action. So right now we got BBAI as well. There's a lot of stocks on watch, guys. It's honestly a little too much in my opinion. So right now our job is to really just identify the top stocks that have the best potential right out of the gate and start cleaning up this watch list. Okay, so right now we're 2 minutes in. I know everybody wants the trade. You want to lock in profits right now. Sit back, relax, be patient, and let's really see where traders go. What's the top stock of the day? What stock has the best potential and the best opportunity, right? You got BBAI that has some opportunity and potential. You got ADN. You have Tilray. You maybe have MOBQ, right? Maybe you even have IVDA. So there's a lot of stocks that have decent potential today, guys. So again, sit back and relax and do not jump the gun just because something moves up 5-10 cents. Okay, there's a lot of stocks on watch. Our job right now is to try and eliminate some of this noise, clean up the watch list, get it down to 3 to 5 stocks, and these are the stocks that we'll be watching for the remainder of the day. So BBAI technically has room down to 1126. So 1126 would be support. We're getting halted to the downside right now on BBAI. We're currently halted to the downside, BBAI. Support is down at 1126. IVDA is on high watch right now, guys. IVDA is on high watch. If we start breaking and holding $3.80, there's a lot of great potential there, guys. So IVDA on high watch over 380. This stock technically has a gap to be filled up towards around 520, 525. There's a lot of great potential here on IVDA. I wanted to pull the trigger at 560. I just didn't pull the trigger. I was too busy looking at ADN here. But IVDA, I definitely want to keep this one on watch above 380 today, guys. A lot of potential. ADN as well. We're hitting our first targets, which is our 50-day moving average here on ADN, right at 308. So breaking and holding that 308 level, we have our next targets right around 345 here on ADN. Looks like BBAI is halted as well. Yeah, okay, BBAI halted to the downside. Good job, Kevin. Nice, up 400 bucks already. Got a nice little bounce off 350. Good job, Kevin, good job. Way to go ahead and take that trade, boss. But I'm still waiting on IVDA for a better entry, right? I didn't want to buy right at 380. I want to make sure I'm sitting back waiting for the best entry. Looking at some of these mid-candle breakouts, nothing yet at this point in time, but definitely keep BRCC and NUTX on watch for those mid-candle breakouts. But right now, it's all ADN, guys. All the activity and all the focus is clearly here on ADN. Current halt level to the upside, 348. IVDA starting to crack below 350. I use market orders. I use market orders primarily. I mean, every now and then I'll throw a limit, but for the most part, I'm trading with market orders, guys. So still 0 trades on the day. I have nothing currently open at this point in time. I am tradeless. Just sitting back and waiting for the best opportunity, right? I mean, ADN, if you were already in this for a pre-market high break, good job. But if you watched it run up like I watched it run up, there's no reason to chase this stock. So right now, the breakout point was 264, which was that pre-market spiking high. That's our current little level of support here. It's going to be back down around that 264 mark. They're on ADN. DC, if you guys were watching DC, some of you were. 690 was yesterday's close. So if you're watching DC thinking that it's going to bounce and run off yesterday's close, you're right at yesterday's close on DC at 690. So this is a level to keep DC on watch. If we do start bouncing, we do start to see some volume moving on in to DC. We are right at yesterday's close, and that's a level that we see stocks bounce when they gap up, right? Stocks gap up, they start pulling back out of the gate into a prior day close. We do see stocks bounce at those levels, and we're starting to see a nice little 40-cent bounce on DC right off that 690 close from yesterday. So we are below pretty much every key level on the SPY. So we are below that 200 SMA, huge gap down. We are below that 20 EMA. And right now, I see potential for the SPY to fall down towards around 444.68, guys. 444.68. So I'm honestly leaning towards UVXY at this point in time here on UVXY, guys. You know, if the SPY continues to look weak and we see these bearish setups on the SPY, we could simply look to go long on UVXY. So the next little setup we get for a SPY put, if you guys like UVXY, we could absolutely look to go long on UVXY, and this doesn't look like a bad trade here on the SPY, right off that 9 EMA rejection after we just saw a little bit of this two-legged pullback. But I still want to be patient. We're only 9 minutes into the day. Last thing I want to do is chase the SPY short and see it rip on up. Like I said, we'll probably see some uncertainty. It may be a little unpredictable. It may be a little choppy today with the SPY because, again, investors are really just kind of chilling, sitting on the sidelines, waiting for that 2 o'clock p.m. Release with those Fed minutes. So I want to play it extra safe today on the SPY and the Qs. I don't want to jump the gun right here, right now, and see it rip back up towards around high a day. Again, I do assume it'll be a little bit on the choppier side. So be extra mindful of that, be extra patient, and really make sure that the trade you get in is an exceptional trade. So again, BBAI, I would expect to see a bounce off yesterday's high of 1127. So I'd be expecting a bounce to take place on BBAI down towards around 1127. So keep that on high watch there, guys. I can't recommend buying ADN here near high a day because support's all the way back down at 264. MOBQ could have some support at 228 off that first little pullback in pre-market. So we'll be watching 228 support here on MOBQ. But if we crack below that 228 level, we do have room back down to 201 here on MOBQ. Let's take CTXR off the watch list. I think it's safe to say that we could probably take IVDA off the watch list as well at this point in time. I would say that we could probably take BTAI off the watch list as well. Just trying to clean it up a little bit, guys. Trying to clean that watch list up and get some of the noise out of here. So we cleaned it up pretty good, right? Still watching BBAI for a bounce off 1126. Stops would be under 11. You could probably grab a nice little 50 cent to $1 out of BBAI. Again, I can't recommend buying stocks at high a day, regardless of how good they look, right? How good the press release is, how good they look. Just penny stocks aren't consistent with breaking out and continuing to rip and run. It's rare. But again, we do have ADN showing some good strength here, guys. But we need to get a really clean, proper setup. So right now, yeah, we're going to just put our focus here on ADN, right? Nothing with MOBQ, nothing with SBFM, nothing with ANY. DC already bounced off yesterday's close for about 60 cents. But I do want to shift some attention to BRCC right now. BRCC, I do want to shift some attention here. Low a day's 24. Right now we're at 24.60. We do have room to 26.87. So there's about $2 of potential to the upside. About 60 cents of risk here on BRCC. And the spreads aren't terrible right now on BRCC. And BRCC was that good look in mid-candle breakout. So BRCC right now should be on high watch for the start of this possible mid-candle breakout formation here on BRCC. Let's put BRCC off to the side. Again, right now, low a day support, 24. Starting to break 25 is where I would expect to see a lot of good volume really start to move on in here, pushing the stock to 26.87, 28.30, and then 29.12 here on BRCC. So I'm watching BRCC off to the side, and our top stock right now at this point in time, ADN. So again, if this is a momentum stock, right, the stock that's just going to continue the uptrend, consistent momentum, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and grind that 9 EMA, what you're looking for is just the pull back into that 9 EMA or right around this prior high. So between 314 and 319 is current light support to see buyers step back in to continue to push the stock to the upside. So again, if you like momentum trades, this is a good momentum trade. Makes a nice big break to the upside, nice pull back into that 9 EMA. Higher high, nice pull back into the 9 EMA, and that prior high as well as support. We want to see that level hold, and you want to see that next leg up and a nice little follow through. The second you see the stock close below a prior high or close below the 9 EMA, you go ahead and get out of that trade, guys. But as long as you stay intact and you see price holding above the prior high and that 9 EMA, you can continue to see the bounce and the follow through into a high a day. Pull back, bounce, follow through, new high a day. And you can continue to see that trend develop and unfold, and you have some decent momentum with a stock like ADN. So if you guys are watching ADN, that's what I would expect to see, is again that break on out, nice healthy pullback into the prior high as well as that 9 EMA. You see buyers step right back in immediately into a new high a day. Your next target, 345 to 350. Anything over 345 and 350, you do have potential to 381 here on ADN, guys. Volume's really starting to move on into BRCC. So we do see that nice increase of volume really starting to step in here on BRCC, but where I really get interested and I guess excited here on BRCC is if we see this break above 25. Above 25, that's where I think the next big leg of volume could really start to move on in. So now you want to get a quick new high a day, 345 to 350. That's where you're going to take a little bit of profit, guys. All right, so that high a day, that was a profit-taking level. And then your next level is 345 and 350. So anytime you get those little pullbacks into those prior highs and you take a trade, where's your first target? It's always the prior high, right? It's always the prior high. And then you have overhead targets as well, 345, 350. So we know that prior highs are always targets. So for example, ADN. If you bought that pullback at like 290, hypothetically speaking, and it ripped up to 319 and retested that prior high, you're putting yourself in a position to lock in some kind of profits right around that prior high. And if it rips, let it rip. Continue to make more money. But just in case it doesn't break that prior high, and then just in case it doesn't follow through, at least you're securing some profits and at least getting paid. All right, but right now, as long as that 9 EMA holds on up, this is a momentum play. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see that 345 to 350 break and you start to see buyers trying to push this on up towards around 380 next. But right now, stops would need to be below $3.18. Because below 318, you'll probably see it pull back to 3. Below 3, see it back down towards around 290 here on ADN. So again, if you guys were grabbing this off that momentum trade, right, you had a second opportunity to lock in profits. So if you missed that opportunity here at high a day to trim, you just got another opportunity to trim. You should be trimming. You should be locking in some kind of profits. It's 20 cents a share. 20 cents is 20 cents, guys. And now you have a little bit on the table, right? You still have a runner. Maybe it's 75% of your position. Maybe it's 50% of your position. But right now, you're risk-free on the trade. You took some profits. You're up 20 cents a share, 24 cents a share, whatever the case is, right? You have a little bit of size left as a runner just to see if it breaks that 345 and 350. But if it doesn't break 345 to 350 and it starts dumping on off back down to your cost basis, you get out risk-free, but you're still making money on the position that you took 25% off the table, 50% off the table, right? But if it doesn't dump and it does break, you still have some size on the table to get to your next target right around 380. There's a new high a day, Tilray. New high a day over, again, we were looking for that break and hold over 8, guys. Right? So if Tilray can break and hold 8, we're looking to take it long to 860. Right? So breaking and holding $8 on TLRY, we have potential up towards around $8.60. So Tilray is definitely a high watch stock at this point in time, guys. But ADN is really the stock that has a lot of the focus, right? I know TLRY is moving. I know BRCC is trying to get some action to the upside. Right, we do have some stocks moving, right? You got MOBQ trying to bounce off that 228. But right now, at this point in time, team, it's between TLRY breaking and holding $8 for the leg up to 860. And then we have ADN over that 350 level. Your next target's 380. BRCC, can we get that break over 25 bucks here? Let's see. Right now, we are testing $25 resistance on BRCC. Let's see if buyers are here and hungry to get this up over 25. Your next target on BRCC is going to be all the way up at $26.87. Right? There's 25 bucks on the ask, BRCC. Bids are at $24.85. Let's see if buyers can get this up over 25. We have another $1.80 potential to the upside on BRCC if we can start breaking 25 here. Yeah, I'm rooting for Tilray as well because I have a longer term position on Tilray. Longer term, but again, if I ever see opportunity to trim profit, I'll trim profit, right? But yeah, I'm rooting for Tilray because I do own this down around like $6, I think. So right now, BRCC is right there. Spreads are tight, 3 cents. Decent bids right below 25. We just want to see some borders come through for that 25 break, and that should really get this thing going here on BRCC here. So let's keep this one on high watch right now at this point in time to see if buyers can start moving on up here for a $25 break. Kind of stagnant though right now. It's stalled out there for a moment. It's just not moving. There's literally no volume moving in. It's stagnant, kind of flatlined. There's 24.97 on the bid, so bids are starting to creep up closer to the 25 here. So you got 24.97 on the bid. Breaking and holding $8 on Tilray is key. Breaking and holding $8 on Tilray is key. Not just peaking on up to 805, right? Breaking, good volume, nice strong green candle. Breaking, pulling back, retesting. Let's get long. Bids are at 25 on BRCC. Ask 2508. Bids 25, ask 2508. So we just put in a high at 2507, it looks like, here on BRCC. Yeah, the high was 2507. Bids are at 2502. It's what we want to see, little by little, right? Slow and steady wins the race, but we want to continue to see the buyers move up like they have been consistently since we opened on up. And really what we want to see is buyers get excited, right? Traders get excited. Oh, we just broke 25 key resistance. Let's start buying this bad boy up. Again, it has room to $26.80 here on BRCC. New high a day, BRCC. Starting to get active here too. Starting to become active, right? You see a lot more volume starting to move on in. Level 2's becoming active, time and sales, everything like that. 25.19. You got 25.17 on the bid now. It's definitely starting to move on up here a little bit, guys. There's 25.25, 25.31. Let's see this thing really take on off if it can. I mean, expect pullbacks. Pullbacks are normal, right? You're going to have profit taking on a stock like BRCC. Don't expect it to just go straight up. Can it? Absolutely. It can just go straight up and halt multiple times to the upside. But again, as it's slow and steady, right? Expect to see pullbacks. Expect to get profit taking. And then expect to see nice, healthy pullbacks and decent rebounds, right? If the pullback is nasty and it just dumps, it's not a healthy pullback, is it? No, that's like, maybe we should get out of that trade, right? But as long as they're nice, healthy pullbacks, and we see that possibility for buyers to transition back in, right? We can continue to see this trend hold up and potentially get to that 2680 target, guys, on BRCC. Again, we're not touching TLRY until it's breaking strong over 8, pulling back healthy into 8, and we see support at $8. Right now, resistance is $8. So again, breaking and holding $8 is key. And when we say break, we want to see a nice, clean candle closure. A nice, solid candle. Not a large upper shadow. A nice, solid candle close above 8. And we want to see that candle with volume. So like that was a decent candle above 8, right? It was a increased volume candle. Solid close above 8. Where's support now? $8, right? So right now, if you were to build a plan on this, your stops would be right around like 787, and you're looking at a 860 target on Tilray.